Imagine knowing how many years you truly have left, not based on guesswork, but on science. What if your body has been quietly sending you signs, right now, that reveal how long you'll live after 70? These 7 signs aren't superstition. They're scientifically proven predictors, used by doctors, researchers, even life insurance companies, to estimate your real life expectancy after 70, and some of them might shock you. So if you're over 50, or love someone who is, you need to see this: 7 signs that predict how long you'll live after 70, backed by science. Sign number 1: walking speed, the invisible clock of life, the science behind it. Believe it or not, your walking speed after 70 is one of the most accurate predictors of mortality ever discovered. In a massive study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, researchers analyzed data from over 34,000 older adults and found a shocking result: every 0.1 meter per second decrease in walking speed increased the risk of death by 12%. The magic number: 1 meter per second. Those who walk slower than this after 70 tend to live significantly shorter lives. Why? Because walking speed isn't just about your legs. It's about muscle strength, heart health, brain coordination, lung function, and balance, a symphony of systems. When walking slows, it means these systems are silently failing. What slow walking really means: a decline in walking speed can be a red flag for what geriatricians call frailty syndrome, a cluster of age-related issues like sarcopenia, muscle loss, cognitive decline, and balance dysfunction. When an older adult starts slowing down, it's rarely about laziness or fatigue. It's often the final stage of underlying chronic conditions, like congestive heart failure, diabetes complications, or neurodegenerative diseases. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, slow walkers over 70 have up to twice the risk of dying within 5 years, compared to brisk walkers. And worse, this slow deterioration often goes unnoticed until a fall or hospitalization occurs. Real-world implications: imagine 2 75-year-old men. One strolls confidently to the grocery store. The other struggles to cross a room. Even if they weigh the same and eat similarly, the faster walker may live 7 to 10 years longer. That's the power of walking speed. It's a proxy for total physiological reserve. Hospitals now routinely use a 6-meter walk test to assess elderly patients' survival risk. If it takes more than 6 to 7 seconds to walk 6 meters, it's a red flag. It's even more accurate than blood pressure in predicting death risk in older adults. Walking is life, and when it slows, the clock is ticking. Can you reverse it? Yes. Science also gives hope. Resistance training, balance exercises, and walking programs like 3x/week brisk walking for 30 minutes can measurably increase walking speed in the elderly. Nutrients like vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, and adequate protein intake help maintain muscle and nerve health. But the key is early intervention. If you or a loved one has slowed walking after 70, don't write it off as normal aging. It might be the most visible warning your body ever gives you, and listening could add years to your life. Sign number 2: grip strength, the hidden signal of internal strength, the surprising power of your hands. You may not think twice about your grip, but researchers have, and what they found is astonishing. Grip strength, measured with a dynamometer, is now considered a biological marker of aging. A study published in The Lancet followed over 140,000 people across 17 countries and found that lower grip strength predicted earlier death more accurately than blood pressure. Every 5 kilogram decrease in grip strength was linked to a 16% higher risk of death. It's not about crushing handshakes, it's about how your muscles, nerves, and circulation work together. Weak grip equals weak systems. It's that simple. More than muscle, grip strength reflects more than just hand power. It's a window into your overall muscle mass, brain function, heart capacity, and even immune response. In fact, researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging found that weaker grip strength in the elderly correlates with higher inflammation markers, like CRP and IL-6. These are the same inflammatory proteins linked to heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's. When your grip weakens after 70, it may mean your immune system is collapsing, or that your body can't recover from minor injuries. In short, it's a sign your internal systems are going dark, quietly, but quickly. How weak grip predicts death. The evidence is overwhelming. In a 2015 longitudinal study, participants with the weakest grip had a 67% greater chance of dying in the next 10 years compared to those with the strongest grip. The test is simple: squeeze a hand dynamometer. Anything below 26 kilograms for men or 16 kilograms for women is considered low for those over 70. Weak grip has also been linked to cognitive decline, loss of independence, and increased hospitalization. It predicts falls, fractures, and even depression. It's like an internal barometer: when the grip fades, the storm is near. Regaining your strength. Thankfully, grip strength is one of the most trainable predictors of mortality. Weight training, especially compound movements like deadlifts and rows, rapidly improves it. Even simple tools, like grip trainers or resistance bands, can restore strength in weeks. Combine that with adequate protein, 1.2 g/kg of body weight, B12, magnesium, and anti-inflammatory foods, and the aging body responds. Most importantly, start before you feel weak. If your hands are losing power, it's not just arthritis, it could be your life expectancy slipping through your fingers. Sign number 3: cognitive speed. How fast your brain works may predict your lifespan. Speed over IQ, forget puzzles and memory games. In aging, mental speed, how fast you process information, is more important than raw intelligence. Research from the University of Edinburgh found that slower reaction times in people over 70 are a powerful predictor of early death. Why? Because mental speed is tightly linked to neuronal health, brain connectivity, and vascular function. When your brain takes longer to respond, it's not just about forgetfulness, it may mean your brain cells are struggling to survive. Mental slowdown is a silent, sinister predictor of biological aging, reaction time as a life clock. In a study of over 500,000 participants in the UK Biobank, researchers found that those with slower reaction times had a 25% higher chance of dying in the next 15 years, even after adjusting for smoking, income, and existing illnesses. The test was simple: press a button when you see a visual cue. The slower the response, the shorter the life expectancy. That's because cognitive speed is closely related to cerebral blood flow, brain plasticity, and neurotransmitter balance. When the brain slows, it's often the first visible sign of vascular dementia, early Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's, sometimes years before diagnosis. Mental slowdown in daily life. Mental speed isn't just about computer games, it affects driving, reacting to emergencies, managing finances, and even socializing. Slower processing can lead to dangerous mistakes, falls, medication errors, and isolation. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that seniors with slower mental speed are more likely to be hospitalized, institutionalized, or suffer depression. Worse, they often lose autonomy, unable to make decisions fast enough in high-stakes situations. Cognitive speed, once considered trivial, is now known to be a canary in the coal mine for life expectancy. Can you sharpen your mind after 70? Yes, and faster than you think. Brain training games, learning new skills, dancing, and even fast-paced conversation can increase cognitive speed. More importantly, physical activity, especially cardio, like walking, swimming, or cycling, boosts brain blood flow and prevents shrinkage of the hippocampus. Foods rich in polyphenol, berries, green tea, turmeric, and omega-3s also improve cognition. The brain is plastic, even after 70. But only if it's used. If you feel yourself slowing down, react, because mental speed may be your most accurate death clock of all. Sign number 4: social connections. The life-extending power of relationships. Loneliness kills. Literally, loneliness after 70 is more than emotional, it's biological death in slow motion. In a landmark study by Brigham Young University, loneliness increased the risk of early death by 26%, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Social isolation reduces immune function, increases inflammation, and boosts cortisol, the stress hormone that accelerates aging. Worse, it quietly sets the stage for heart disease, stroke, depression, and dementia. Seniors without meaningful human connection tend to deteriorate faster, regardless of diet, exercise, or genetics. Relationships are medicine. From the Harvard Adult Development Study, the longest-running human study in history, researchers discovered that the strongest predictor of happiness and longevity after 70 wasn't wealth, IQ, or even cholesterol levels. It was close relationships. Those who had someone to rely on in times of stress lived longer and healthier lives, even if they had chronic illnesses. Positive social bonds literally act as a buffer against inflammation, oxidative stress, and cognitive decline. Our brains are wired for connection, and when that wire is cut, the whole system suffers. The biology of connection, social connection boosts levels of oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, neurochemicals that reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even improve wound healing. Seniors with active social lives have better immune responses to vaccines and fewer hospitalizations. Even brief interactions, like chatting with a neighbor or calling a friend, create small surges in these life-enhancing chemicals. On the flip side, prolonged isolation increases risk of metabolic syndrome, hypertension, and memory loss. The more alone you are, the more likely your body is preparing for shutdown, rebuilding the circle. Even if you've lost loved ones or live far from family, it's not too late. Join a club. Volunteer. Visit a senior center. Studies show that intentional community building, like attending church, group classes, or social meetups, can reverse the biological damage of isolation in just 6 to 8 weeks. Pet ownership, digital connections, and even talking to cashiers regularly can help. Your social circle isn't just about company, it's about survival. After 70, your relationships may be the most powerful life support system you have. Sign number 5: resting heart rate, the pulse of longevity. Your resting heart rate, RHR, might be the simplest, most accurate predictor of your lifespan, and yet, it's often overlooked. According to the Framingham Heart Study, individuals over 65 with a resting heart rate above 80 beats per minute had a significantly higher risk of dying within the next 10 years, compared to those with rates below 70. The heart's rhythm is more than a number, it's a window into cardiovascular efficiency and autonomic nervous system balance. An elevated RHR indicates that your heart is working harder than it should. This constant overexertion leads to arterial stiffness, high blood pressure, and oxidative stress. Over time, the risk of heart disease, stroke, and sudden cardiac death increases dramatically. Even if you've never had a heart attack, a high RHR could be signaling one is coming. But the implications go deeper. A high RHR is also associated with systemic inflammation and even cancer risk. Research in the American Journal of Epidemiology found that for each 10 bpm increase in RHR, there's a 16% increased risk of mortality. In essence, the faster your heart ticks, the faster your life clock runs out. Luckily, RHR is one of the most modifiable metrics. Regular aerobic exercise, better sleep, and stress management can lower your RHR and extend your lifespan. To test yours, check your pulse after waking up and before getting out of bed. If it's consistently above 75 bpm, consider it a warning bell. A calmer heart is a longer-lasting heart. Sign number 6: muscle mass, the armor of longevity. Your muscles aren't just for movement, they're your survival armor. As you age, muscle mass becomes one of the strongest predictors of lifespan. A 2014 UCLA study found that seniors with higher muscle mass had a significantly lower risk of all-cause mortality. Simply put, more muscle equals more life. Why? Because muscle is metabolically active tissue. It regulates blood sugar, controls inflammation, and supports immune function. Losing muscle, known as sarcopenia, leads to weakness, falls, fractures, and eventually disability. What's worse, sarcopenia often sets in silently after age 60, accelerating after 70, unless action is taken. Muscle mass is also closely tied to nutritional status. Seniors who eat too little protein or avoid resistance training are more likely to lose muscle and increase fat. This body composition shift is deadly. Visceral fat increases, insulin sensitivity drops, and inflammation rises, all shortening lifespan. So how do you protect your muscle? Strength training at least 2 to 3 times a week, eating 1.0 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and staying active are non-negotiable. You don't need to bench press 200 pounds, but you do need to challenge your muscles. It's the difference between thriving and merely surviving in old age. Sign number 7: sleep quality, the final predictor of time left. Sleep isn't just rest, it's repair. And in the elderly, poor sleep is a major predictor of early death. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that seniors who sleep less than 6 hours or more than 9 hours a night have significantly higher mortality rates. It's not just quantity, but quality, that matters. Fragmented sleep, frequent waking, and conditions like sleep apnea disrupt the body's ability to recover. This leads to elevated cortisol, insulin resistance, memory loss, and even increased risk of stroke or cancer. Your brain clears toxins during deep sleep, especially beta amyloid, the same compound linked to Alzheimer's. Moreover, poor sleep accelerates biological aging. Telomeres, those tiny protective caps on your DNA, shorten faster in people with chronic sleep issues. One study published in Sleep Health found that seniors with poor sleep had telomeres comparable to people 10 years older. It's not just about feeling tired, your cells are literally aging faster. The remedy? Stick to a consistent sleep schedule, limit blue light exposure, avoid heavy meals before bed, and screen for disorders like apnea. Quality sleep is medicine, and without it, even the best diet or exercise routine can fail. Sleep well, and you may live well. And longer.